All right, and Happy New Year, everybody. My name is Jordan Clemens. You're listening to They Came From the Underground. I think I stuttered on that, but that's all good. Just got a few things to plug here in the intro before we get into it. I'm going to be on the Graham Comedy Show. It's a comedy show that basically is going over Instagram posts and commenting and making hashtags and just all jokes in the purpose of gaining points and then hopefully then winning. And it is hosted by Sean Dangler and Muhammad Wall. And I've seen the show before. It's a lot of fun, and so I'm really looking forward to it. That's going to be on January 24th at Java Joe's Coffee House. Go check out the Graham. You can find them on social media like Instagram, of course, and then I believe they have Twitter and Facebooks. But check them out and go see us there. It's at, if you're not familiar with Java Joe's Coffee House, it's in Des Moines on I got the address here. It's 214 4th Street. So go check that out. It's a cool place. They do have alcohol, so if you don't want to drink coffee or tea, then they got options. And other than that, I just want to make some plugs for my little brother, who is going to be on some shows opening for some bigger names. He is a rapper here from Ames, Iowa, and you can find him on social media on Facebook and Instagram at J versus Music. J versus is, of course, the rap name. His name's Jaden Clemens. My little brother, and he spells his name Jayvs and then space music. Facebook and Instagram. But he's opening for Haystack on January 16th, Stevie Stone on January 24th, Riff Raff on February 11th, Mac Lethal on March 13th. Haystack, Stevie Stone, and Mac Lethal are all at Lefty's Live Music. And then Riff Raff, fucking Riff Raff, will be at Vaudeville Muse. So go check all those shows out. The 16th, 24th, and February 11th, March 13th. So other than that, this episode features Jordan Bleujack Voigt. Bleujack is the artist name, and it is one word, Bleujack, to ease your search. Find him on all social media at that name. Find his music at bleujack.bandcamp.com. And other than that, don't make a resolution. If you really want to do something, just fucking do it. Nobody needs a resolution. I've made plenty and never stuck to them. Most of them were related to the same thing. And it was all just pretend motivation that it was all going to happen. And so usually revolved around losing weight. But hey, not the only one. I know that much. It never really mattered. Anyway, just most people just like to get wasted and just have fun. So celebrate the new year how you do. And just don't give a shit and just continue living your life through the next week. It's all going to be the same when we go back to work again. So, I hope you guys enjoy the interview here. Bleujack's a super cool guy. He got great music. He's kind of like a blues rock kind of guy. Maybe a little bluegrassy. I'm not super familiar, but but he's got a really cool sound. There's a little bit of a hip-hop influence that you can tell. But yeah, well, we had a lot of fun, and I hope you guys do too. So, again, Happy New Year to you guys, and keep it. How should I end this? Still trying to figure that out. Have a good one. That's all I'll say. Thank you.
Well, my mother taught me to say V as in Victor when I spell out my last name. My father, he kept getting richer and richer. Well, I guess I walked the other way. Well, your friends become you, you become them, and I take that to my grave. And I search for folks in hopes that they don't turn out anything like me, but I taught myself how to bleed. I taught myself to love my life. I taught myself that I can sing. And I taught myself that I can fight.
So I'm back here just kind of chilling and then like building up this, brand. And getting like learning how to make music, and like I've been doing comedy and like getting this podcast up and running. And
Hell yeah.
so I'm like, fuck it, while I'm here, I'm gonna invest money in something that I can actually work on and make me money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so but welcome, Jordan.
The kids call that a side hustle.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. That's the phrase I'm looking for right there. Yeah, exactly. Is your last name pronounced Voigt?
Yep.
Is that okay?
Yep.
Well, welcome, Jordan Voigt, or also known as Bleujack in the local scene. Good to have you here. I'm
Thanks
your host,
for having me.
Jordan Clemens. So if you get confused at any point, feel free to email us. No, but it's great to have you here, man. It's good to meet you officially. How you doing?
Great.
Yeah.
Had the weekend off.
Oh, right on, man.
Relaxing.
That's what's up. And excuse me. I checked out I did check out the album you sent me. It was it was like the duo album with Black.
Yeah. That's me and my buddy Alex.
Yeah, it was
Split EP.
Yeah, what was it? Black Dog Lip.
Dog Lip Smile.
Black Dog Lip Smile. Yeah, it's like that's a very interesting name.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's definitely the first time I'd seen seen that done. Is like where it's like this first half of the album is gonna be me. The second half of the album is gonna be this guy. The sound definitely changes. Yeah. So how old is that now?
It's a good question. Probably 7 or 8 years.
7 or 8 years. Right on.
It's like it kind of goes into like how I'm making music now, I suppose.
Yeah.
My buddy Alex was the Black Dog Lip Smile half of that EP, and him and I used to make hip hop back in the day.
Oh,
together.
really?
And that's like how I got into music in the first place.
Okay, that makes
so
sense.
We email like all our favorite rappers that weren't big, and we'd get spots with them at like Yacht Club in Iowa City, and pulled them over to Ames a couple times, and Des Moines a couple times, and
yeah.
That was the first thing I started making music was hip hop.
Hell yeah, man, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I've kind of got. I actually came into hip hop later. Have you always been a fan of hip hop?
Always, yeah.
Always,
yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm the youngest of 6.
Oh wow.
So like my oldest siblings would be showing me like Tupac and Biggie, and then I started getting into Eminem, and then I started realizing that there's like people that are good that aren't huge.
Yeah.
And I was an underground snob, like a snob. For a decade. It took me a long time to start listening to popular rap. And like,
I don't blame you there, man. It took me a while too. Yeah, it was like I always grew up I just always loved rock and roll.
Yeah.
You know, I've always loved like the full band style and going to like the shows, and so I think that's really kind of what made me get into it. Then, yeah, and like, but also when you grow up in like Webster City, like everyone's listening to rock and roll because they're all like 50-year-old white people.
I grew up in Algona.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah. You get it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's when you're surrounded by it, you know, you don't have a lot. If when you're in that area, you tend not to do things that you just know are gonna get you like made fun of by all the local fucking drunk adults.
Oh yeah.
You know, because you're a kid and you can't handle it. So you know, so it's like anyone who listened to hip hop was very much like an outsider kind of dude in the town.
I mean, it's not like I'll go into Webster for all the hip hop shows.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah, good point. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, so it's that kind of thing where it's just like you got like the young kids who like really love it and they get into it and they're trying to put on that kind of front, but you know it's all white kids anyway, and so it's just like there's cows less than 10 miles away from you at probably any point. And so it's the kind of thing and you look back on it, it's really funny.
I like seeing it though. I like seeing that Midwest has a lot to offer
for
hip hop today compared to 20 years ago.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It started very coastal, and
I'm glad it finally made its way in slowly.
Yeah.
Surely.
Yeah. There was a David Letterman. I remember I watched his My Next Guest Needs No Introduction interview with Jay-Z.
Yeah.
And he was like, so hip hop is very biographical. Am I right about that? And Jay-Z's just like, no, it's not. And then the crowd laughs because it was very much this white old man moment. This big old fucking white beard. And Jay-Z just like, no, dude, like clear, like no. But then they get into it, and he's like, but Jay-Z does level with him. Like I can see where you would get that, like, you know, just because of like how you know, obviously if you were on the East Coast, you were probably like, oh, fuck the West Coast, but it wasn't actually geographical. It was just like, because either way, it's hip hop. It just depends on what you say.
Everybody clings to what they know. I mean,
yeah.
That's why I favor Minneapolis hip hop over like the coast.
Yeah.
I mean, It's closest to home.
Yeah.
It's like rooting for your favorite football team, or
right?
whatever.
Yeah, exactly. That's very true. That's the fun. And that's actually the kind of funny thing about football teams too is like with Iowa. Obviously, if you're talking about college football, people are like very much likely to say Iowa or Iowa State, or maybe one out of every 74 people. Someone would be like UNI.
Yeah.
And then or maybe one of every 1,000 because I like it's just the area I'm in.
Yeah.
But like and then but with like pro ball, people have specific likes that are always out of state. And they're often different even within friend groups because everyone has to go by association of other places because we don't have a professional team.
Yep.
So it's definitely I was a melting pot for football fans.
I was a Dallas Cowboys fan my whole life.
Cowboys fan, yeah. What's your do you have any ties with Texas?
No.
No?
I think it started from being a family full of Vikings fans, and then I liked the color blue better when I was like knee high. So I was like, I'm gonna go with these guys.
Honestly, I don't blame you.
Plus, in the '90s, they were winning a lot. So.
Yeah. Oh hell! So you're like it's a fun, exciting winter train.
Yeah.
That's actually a good way to get into a team too. Yeah.
I don't watch it anymore, but
yeah, me either.
No political reasons or anything. Just like I cut off my bottom hobby.
Right. Yeah. That was
more time for my others.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. How long have you been doing music now?
I got my first guitar in this summer '05.
Summer '05.
So like a while.
No, hell yeah. Yeah.
I didn't start singing until 6-7 years after that.
Oh really?
And, like hip hop came before I was singing. I feel like a rapper once removed. like I got into hip hop first. That's always been the thing that brought me closest. My favorite if I had to pick a genre.
Right. Yeah. Hell yeah.
But I don't bring beats on the stage. Everything's done with my guitar or my band.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And I like it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I love hip hop, and I love to try to force it into like my folk songs. And my whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
That I play.
Yeah. Definitely. Right. Yeah. Exactly. No, dude, I don't blame you. That's a big move these days, and honestly, so like there's sometimes it kind of sounds weird, and they try to do those like weird country hip hop fusions or whatever. But there's been a lot of times where I've heard like a hip hop fusion with something like maybe some kind of bluesy. Like Tech Nine did a song with Gary Clark Jr.
Yeah.
And it's an incredible song, and like you hear the guitar riffs and it gets into like the song, but then like it also and it's like a big full song, and it has a lot of energy behind it, but it still has that aspect of having that like new modern like heavy blues, but then like also from Gary Clark, but then having like the very much like modern hip hop.
Tech Nine comes in and makes it cool too.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
The other way.
Look.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And so it's exactly. And so and it just ends up being this amazing song, because it's like these amazing artists. It's 7 producing, Tech Nine's on it, and then Chris Calico, and then Gary Clark Jr. and it's just this huge. It's a great track.
I haven't heard that. I'm really enticed though.
It's called No Gun Control.
Okay.
Yeah, and so
cool.
when you listen to it, you actually then you hear the title and go, okay. It's for anyone listening, it's not a song that's just like no gun control. It's just like it's just
I didn't
making.
figure Gary Clark and Tech Nine were gonna be like that straightforward.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It gets a little more in depth when you listen to it. Don't worry. So. Does have that going for it. Who are your influences growing up that really got you into doing music, like even starting in hip hop and all that?
When I was in high school, I listened to a lot of like pop punk.
Yeah.
Like Coheed and Cambria.
Definitely.
Brand New.
Yeah, big time.
And then hip hop started taking hold. Eminem got me when I was like in middle school or whatever.
Yeah.
And I started listening to Atmosphere. I started listening to Idea and Abilities and Sage Francis and Aesop Rock and
hell yeah,
all them guys. And then my buddy Alex started. He was a year above me, so he went to college first, and then he started booking these shows with like Soul. We got a show with Idea one time. We got a show with AWOL One.
Oh really?
Dessa.
Okay.
All these people that were like nobody that would do a spot in Iowa City on their way to and from a bigger city across the way, we just bullshitted our way on all these bills of like our favorite rappers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We'd only pull like 50 people or less usually at a show. But,
right. Yeah.
I mean, that was like my favorite time
Oh,
of my life.
That's that's always a great reminiscent point. That like honestly, like a lot of the artists, whether it be comedians or not, is they always reminisce on their favorite times of being in their career. Is like just like having fun at the shows, be it when it kind of like didn't matter and you were kind of
we played a show at Yacht Club one time that was really bad.
Yeah,
it was unpracticed. We added a couple extra people at the end,
the
day of unpracticed.
Oh shit.
And at the time his name was Absorber, but he calls himself Christoph Crane now. And those are like my two biggest heroes at the time, and they sat front row up front, bobbing their heads to our shitty ass set.
Yeah.
For the whole set, and I'll never forget that, like, because they could have been fucking off in their bus or their van.
Yeah, exactly.
Not even been in the room, but they're up front showing support for
some
guys that we were unique, we were weird, but we were bad.
Right.
And I think they knew all of that. I think they saw the creativity.
Right. Yeah.
And they wanted to be supportive as a headliner, and then even though we were awful. But I just remember that kind of moment like sticks out in my head.
No, big time. That's a little thing that will stand out, isn't that? And they knew that. Yeah. They knew that for sure. It's because that's
too.
Yeah, exactly. And that's because that's what they're pursuing, and that's a big thing. I've talked to comedians about a big time actually is like, when we're at these open mics, like you're not only are you there to laugh, but like your whole thing is talking. And so it's like you always have something to say, and you're always thinking. And so when you end up being in a room full of other people doing that, you're like, I didn't know that there are this many other people doing that.
Yeah.
And you find out from just like shooting the shit with them, and it's just like but it's like you go and you love it, and sometimes you end up being a little bit disruptive to whoever's currently doing their set because you're like having fun off to the side, like especially if your set goes well, like it's only like 5 minutes, but like even if you go for 5 minutes and you get like good laughs throughout the thing, you go off stage like, I'm doing this again, and then you're like, all right guys, let's get drinking. And so then like because now the anxiety's gone of like the anticipation of getting up there to do your set, and so it's like getting into this group of like the like-minded people is that is a big thing that brings you back to doing
comedy. Is the most terrifying in the world. Like I can't think of one thing that gives me more anxiety.
Yeah.
Than like, hey, go up there and make a whole crowd of people laugh.
Dude.
Like, fuck you.
Oh yeah. Like, fuck you, dude.
I watch stand up. I've watched it since I was a kid. I really appreciate it. And there's always been like this hidden dream where I wanted to give it a try, but no.
It's man. It's
give me a guitar and let me sing a song. Anybody can tap their foot, even if it ain't that good.
That's true. It's a lot easier to pretend to
silence. When you're a comedian.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I can play over top of silence. If I'm
playing that's the thing is like that. Oh, dude, that's actually good. That's actually a good point you bring up there because I don't think that's probably something that people don't think about till later on. Is like when you're doing comedy, you kind of need that immediate reaction, and then if you don't get it right away. Like that means people didn't get it, and so that means they didn't even know to pretend to laugh.
Yeah. People you didn't get a pity laugh.
Yeah, people know it. people know when to laugh when you're playing music because they're used to like how songs build and fall, and because they've been listening to music their whole life.
Yeah, I mean, as a musician, you either got to be in a rough crowd or you got to suck. To not just get like at
least a pity clap,
a little bit of love in between songs.
Yeah, if you're not getting at least a golf clap, you
usually
fucked up.
Crowds for comedians are pretty honest.
Yeah, big time. Like
not as much generosity.
No, there's not.
But I respect comedians even more for that because.
And you know what though, even if you don't, even if you don't want to do it, you can definitely go check out some of the open mics.
Oh yeah, well I used to check out Joey Ficken and. Dave Melendez and those two guys like all the time, and I'm still salty about it. One of the few shows that I've seemingly to me missed was that one that like Ron White and Josh Blue came down from Stevens.
Oh yeah,
and, bombed DG's and like I saw the video DG's Tap House. Yeah, they did their setup at Stevens, and then
oh my god,
Joey Ficken and Dave Melendez had this like open mic going at DG's, and they just came up and stole the show and did a bunch of jokes. Like,
holy fuck, dude.
That's the same kind of thing you were saying, with like me and like Idea, them guys watching my set, like those two bombarded an open mic in a small Iowan town.
That's fucking cool, dude. Dude, I wish I would have known they had been on tour.
I was mad
because I found out like after the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, they people like that get it too.
Yeah.
Like they know that they made Joey and Dave and whoever was running the open mic.
They
night,
made everyone's fucking night that night, dude. Like, because anyone who was there, whether they were like signed up to do the open mic or not, fucking Ron White and Josh Blue popped into the place out of the north.
Sam Talent was involved. I think that's why it happened.
I could see that.
I think Sam Talent was
if you have a connection,
doing something with them at Stevens,
right.
and that's why he talked to maybe. I don't know.
He could have. He could. They definitely could have.
I feel like his name was involved as well.
That could have been. You know,
sorry if I'm messing up
you know,
credit for that.
Right. Well, the hard part for if there was someone else involved in that is that they were probably just like a guy that's kind of like a little part of the business when he's working with people.
Yeah.
Whether like maybe he's a comic or something, but like all the attention goes to Ron White and Josh Blue showing up.
Sure.
Like that dude, I'm sure he would want credit of being like the guy who maybe got them there, but no one gives a shit.
No.
You know,
it's true.
It's like they're too famous for anyone to be like, dude, you got them here. Wow, you're so cool. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go talk to them now. Yeah. So it's like it is cool of you to do, but people forget very quickly because you weren't the main focus in that. But yeah, it's one of those little situations, but where you definitely see that the big timers are like, we're probably like, you know what, we're here. Ron White's a drinker. He's probably buzzing off a good show. He's probably
heard that he is not. That is not for show. Like that is.
You're right. He's like drinking
drinker.
all the time.
He's a real alcoholic.
Yeah. He Ron White drinks all day.
That day
he drinks tequila. Yeah.
Somebody said that day he bombed DG's, got drunk like 4 times.
Dude,
before his big Steven set, before his little open mic set, right when he got to Ames,
dude.
I don't know.
Literally
could all
drinking
be
all
false,
day.
you know, but I believe it.
Yeah, for sure. There's a podcast I watched called Kill Tony, and he was a guest on there sometimes. And I think it was the last time he was on. He showed up late and he's like, I was off drinking with an old friend. Tom got away from us. And so he's like, I got this is right here. This is the best. He's just like carries a bottle of tequila on him everywhere he goes, and then he just like sets it up, and then he's like, that's what you should get right there. And so that is the nectar of the gods. I don't know however you describe it. You know? And so he's just like clearly drunk, but like since he drinks all day, he can like handle it. So like even if he's wasted, he's like still like, yeah, what's going on?
He can do it.
What's going on, man? And so and then he also like will smoke weed and then microdose on mushrooms every day.
Oh my god!
He's like very much, and so it's he's very much a substance user.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, and since he microdoses on mushrooms, he's like, it's the kind of thing where he just takes enough to like border on that high, where you just get like the uplifting kind of effect on it. Yeah, the feel goods. And then I think one of the stories I heard was that he like came in to do a podcast, smoked the whole joint to himself, and then like didn't even offer it to anybody, but then poured everyone drinks, and then they smoked more after, but he was like, but this one's me. You know, so he's still like,
I believe it.
Yeah, that's just who he is, man. That's cool. Yeah, it's funny as fuck.
It's cool to see a functioning alcoholic.
Hugely. Yeah.
I know a lot of them, but you know.
Oh yeah, in Iowa we have a lot.
And now, you know, he like probably gets his hand held, gets told where to go, doesn't have to do a lot of stuff himself as much, but it took a long time to get to that point.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet there was a functioning alcoholic that struggled a long time before he got to that point, I imagine.
I believe it. I totally believe it. Like he definitely had to do his trial runs before he knew what he could handle, to how much, and like how often he could do it, and like how much he can drink and when, and like then still mix it with other shit and get twisted. You know, yeah, it's definitely he's got practice.
Sure.
You know, he's definitely a lot of experience. What's your drug of choice between like and you know, alcohol included?
Yeah. Over the years, I like just a few months ago took a step back from alcohol. And I don't mean like done, but like
at least a break.
2-3 nights a week getting drunk was kind of my rhythm for the last 10 years or so of my life. And hangovers hurt too bad anymore, man.
I believe it.
It's not some big thing of willpower that's making me turn the other way. It's the 3-day fucking hangovers. Ooh, they hurt.
Shit, man. That's a long hangover. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
I just can't do it anymore. So
no.
I drank a little bit over Thanksgiving, but I'm taking a step back again for a while.
Right.
I do like some marijuana, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You ever seen the, a little side note, have you ever seen the show Letterkenny?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like Letterkenny a lot.
Allegedly. So seeing you say that on your own with your beard and, like, and then your long hair and, like, their hat over it is like, that was a great moment right
I
then.
like Letterkenny a lot.
Allegedly. Dude, yeah.
But no, I don't do too much. I'm pretty boring.
No, yeah, man.
Smoke a little weed, have a little fun.
No, weed's
a few times a
great,
year
man.
outside of that, but nothing
Yeah.
gnarly.
For sure, yeah. Well, no, weed's great. Like, I had like my older brother who, you know, obviously,
Yeah.
I don't know how much you know about
We weren't super
what
close,
he's into
but
these
we were
days.
acquaintances.
Right on. Yeah, he. I definitely believe that since you're both in like the music scene and
Yeah.
everything.
I remember when he was in Murdoch and shit.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, he was always jumping between bands because he was a dick and.
Good fucking musician. Actually,
he's a great musician.
I saw
just that
him-
he's got the bad attitude.
I
and
saw
the
him
drug
at
addiction.
Open Jam one night, and I got this thing that I consider unique with my guitar playing, and it's kind of like a slappy playing.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to learn that and
Big
start
time.
applying it to songs and
Right.
stuff. And he's like, "How do you do that?" And I showed him this little thing that I struggled with for a long time, and he watched me do it once, and he did it right back
God.
to me.
Oh my
And
god.
I was like, "Fuck."
He's a great
He's
dude.
really good.
That's what sucks too. Is like
He's a
he's
quick
like,
learner.
yeah, he is, and that's the thing is he would literally spend all day playing guitar and like singing. Like then he got a piano, he started learning to play piano. He picked up on that pretty quickly. Like I don't know, like but then I like look back on it, now he might have just been like he was probably just mostly playing songs that were already written. So, and then but then just like building up the hand muscles or whatnot. But then like yeah, that was always a thing. Is like he had
Some people just get it.
yeah, he's like. It's
He's
like
one
he's
of those.
just there's something about his brain. It just like it locks into music, and he can and he has the kind of brain that can lock in and just like focus on it and like pay and like just and pick up those skills and like work it back, and like he has so much fluidity in his playing that like it's like probably why he was able to pick up on it so quickly is just because he is like he's just that's like all he did, literally all he did, unless he was like hanging out with friends, and then like for a while he was and then even then they were probably still jamming.
Like Will Pett is another one of those. I don't know if you know that guy.
Uh-uh.
But anything he touches, he's good at. Plays like the
Excuse me.
saw.
Plays a saw.
You know, upright bass. Plays
Damn.
Anything he touches sounds good.
Oh wow, that's a real that's the kind of thing that blows my mind. That is like with music because like there's like the perfect palette for all kinds of things like with tasting and then with sound and whatever. But it's really the musicians that just like it's just so in their DNA and in their programming that they like once they get the hang of whatever they can do it all.
Yeah.
And so and it just blows up from there, and it's just like this. It's insane to watch because there's other people it takes them like 3 days of just like working and not sleeping and just like fucking committing to doing nothing but that for 3 days or whatever it is to like finish a song or like at least figure out where they're going with it, and then you get dudes like that who are like, here it is, and you're like, god damn it.
I feel like I can find that pretty okay. Like I wouldn't compare myself to either of the other two, but like I like anything with frets, and I can do a keyboard a little bit, but the drum set, man, that is what I don't know the most.
It's a different
it feels so alien to me compared to anything else. I can't just and I could take a drum pad and I could make a beat. You know, I could take a Logic or you know, Apple something and make a beat with some whatever, and I could do that one beat at a time. But these people that are just like really good at drums, it's very alien to me. I can't relate to it at all.
Insane. Yeah, it's definitely the kind of thing that it's definitely a whole. I really think it's a different ballpark than playing guitar and everything, because it is like your whole, because like for one it's your whole body, and then and then like you are the rhythm and the backbone of the whole thing, and so you're the one being played along with. You're not playing along, and so and then all the different things that make a drummer really great when it comes to applying the different skills and like different like kinds of drums and cymbals and everything to the whole thing. That's when it really comes into play of like a good drummers, when they can really utilize the skills they have, because you can see some amazing drummers on YouTube that you're just like, you have these skills, but it's like you can tell that they just haven't really quite figured out how to apply it practically.
Yep.
Yeah, into maybe like an original song or something. So yeah, it's definitely a different ballgame.
That's one thing I really like. So we got Bleujack is me. It's my nickname or whatever. And
Right.
we have a full band as well, and we never added like an extension, Bleujack in the or whatever.
You're right. Yeah.
So it gets confusing. But I got a full band. It's Dave and Greg and Adam, and Adam's our drummer, and he's got this hip hop flavor in his drums, and it's like I love that he has that natural hip hop flavor because
that works out perfect.
He can see where I'm coming from with the song, and knows when I got like a rappy vibe on it, and he picks right up on it and gets held like on the snare with it.
Dope.
You know, and I don't have that mentality, but he does, and I'm so grateful for that.
That's even better that you found
like hip hop too, you know, and they can do their own thing, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, drums are vital.
On the drum behind a song that doesn't have an electronic beat.
Yep.
Like it's really handy as a guy that's trying to portray a hip hop vibe through a full band.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. That's the thing that I think a lot of people when they first start making music don't realize is how much the drums actually change the pace of the song.
Oh yeah.
And so because like literally it doesn't matter what your melody or your riff is, if the drums play in two different ways, it's gonna be two different songs.
Yeah.
And so that's I thought that was like the craziest thing to me when I started learning about all the production and everything. Is just how much that affects it, and because I had heard that from people before, is just like the drums are like so important, like the most important or whatever, and it's true. Yeah, I think anyway. You know,
it's kind of the foundation.
Yeah,
if you got a sloppy foundation, even if it sounds good everywhere else, it's still muddy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, for sure. So how would you? As far as the genre goes, what would you describe your guys' music as?
I like to split it into two. I like to say what I sound like solo versus what I sound like with the band.
Right.
So by myself, I would say it's like folk, hip hop, maybe a bit of country and blues.
Yeah.
But with the whole band, there's still that hip hop vibe in there. Mm-hmm. There's still that folk vibe in there, but it's heavy. We get getting a little heavier all the time. We'll throw some rock instrumentals out there every now and again. Sometimes.
Yeah.
We haven't been on a hiatus, but we've been slowing down. I've been pulling myself together a little bit more this year, focusing on my shit that musicians like to procrastinate on, like taxes and shit. Like that.
Yeah, big time.
But no, we're not stopping or anything crazy like that. I just been focusing on me. Bassist had a kid. Drummers switching jobs. Guitarists switch jobs. Everybody's getting themselves a little bit together, but I think we're gonna try a little DIY recording in the near future, and
hell yeah,
maybe try to get some more stuff out there, start booking some more.
Definitely, man. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's and like I said, I've been trying to set up kind of that style of show at Mother's Pub because that's kind of what they want to do there. I remember I went in and was like, yeah, so like I've been trying, DJ's closed. I'm looking for some new places to work with to set up shows, and they were like, oh, hip hop, we can't do that. Yeah. And then I was like, ooh, what do you want to do?
If I had a nickel, buddy.
Big time, dude. Yeah, so many places and names are like, no, we're trying to stick to a specific look around here.
Iowa, man, it's hard to book a hip hop show in Iowa compared to anything else.
That's true. It's like, that's very true. There are very specific places that are about
Lefties is cool down Des Moines. I don't know if
Lefties and Vaudeville, and then if they're big enough, then if they're a big enough rapper, then like the Civic Center.
Or what? Woolies,
Seven Flags,
nail Woolies,
or Woolies. That's another one too. Yeah, so it's like they have their places where it usually is, but mostly, definitely, it is like bands and like rock and roll, like even like heavy metal.
Dino's in London will do stuff. They're cool. Yeah, they're cool. Ames ones.
That's true, or the Angry Irishman.
Yeah, sorry,
Angry Irishman. No, fucking.
It'll always be Dino's to me, man.
That's what everyone says. It's always going to be Dino's to them. They don't like the. I guess cool. A lot of people don't really like the Angry Irishman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So plus, there's nothing really Irish about it. Like it's just it is the thing. It's like it's the same bar with an Irish
I like
in the name.
every change they've made about that bar. I'm just not a huge fan of the name change, but I didn't buy the bar. So I didn't
not
get
your
to
call,
choose the name.
Right,
so.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't blame you there. But it is one of those things where the fact that it was already kind of established with customers and everything is really what is keeps them coming back. Because like, if it was called, because if they changed the name and it was because it was a shit business, it would still be going under.
Yeah,
because they did, it's like just because the inside didn't change at all between.
well, they did a lot of changes between then and now.
Oh, did they?
They
Maybe
got a
it's
whole
been a
new
while since I've been
bar.
in there. Oh,
They got a
okay.
whole new bar front. They painted the walls. They added a stage. They added a they added a new sound system.
Oh, the stage is
they're
new.
Smoking out in the patio in the back now, so you can bring your drink out there and have a
Nice.
cigarette, which is few and far between these days.
Right? Yeah. That's very.
No,
true.
I mean I'm telling you, like every change about that bar, I really like. I'm just not crazy about the name.
I don't blame you there. Yeah. There was something there. I heard
Mother's cool dude. I don't know there enough. I've seen a lot of cool shows at Mother.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely. There was a band called Frog Leg that was that they were interested in getting there. So I was trying to set up because it was like a similar enough sound. I could get y'all on the same show. So
that's kind of fun too. Is like since I'm like a wannabe rapper or whatever, I can like get my foot in the door on rap shows.
Yeah.
On country shows, on blues shows, on folk shows, rock shows.
Get your name out there in all aspects.
And it's not even about that. It's just like I like that ability to chameleon around and work with any band.
There's plenty of people who like that and they're artists too. And so then if you build up that kind of reputation of being able to be like that, give all these different sounds, and that's actually another way to build up a lot of fans too, and like really get the accumulation going, as opposed to the bands that are like, well, this is our one sound. Yep. This is what you get, and so that's honestly like a thing that's like going on a lot nowadays, is people getting multiple platforms going, is because there's certain ones that are dying. Like music, it's like you can make music for sure, but because everything went to streaming because of pirating. Yeah. And so it's definitely
inevitable though.
Yeah. But it's exactly. And it's the kind of thing that now you have to take certain steps to make sure that like if you do insist on pursuing music, that you can actually like profit off it, or like, you actually get paid for the work that you put in. Same with comedy, and just like whether it be hip hop or metal, or like hip hop or metal or rock or country or comedy or whatever. Like when it's in the entertainment industry where you create a thing that you put out there and then you have to do it for free for a while just to create like just to create a demand that you can then monetize.
I had the dream of monetizing Bleujack for a long time. Like I wanted to get out there and go.
It's a great name.
Do the tour and do the get out of the state and do it. Put all my money down on making it big and stuff. And now I have no aspirations to make it big. And it's not like I'm gonna keep playing till I die.
Oh yeah.
I don't care about that. But like, I think the moment that you make it your job, it becomes less fun.
That can be.
And I have a job, a boring daytime job that gives me full benefits and enough pay to get by and this and the other thing. So like now I'm kind of leaning in towards that lifestyle while keeping my Bleujack thing fresh, fun, and not a side hustle.
Right,
not something that if I don't get this album done, I won't be able to make my payment on my car.
Exactly.
Now I can be like, I don't care when I get it done. It's all gonna come.
You're gonna be fine.
And I'm gonna keep doing it forever.
Yeah, you're gonna be fine. Yeah, exactly. That's a good place to be in, honestly. And there is a lot to be said about kind of taking that path, as opposed to kind of taking the path that a lot of like early performers take, of like whether it's like living out of their car and then like they literally just so that they have the freedom to travel around and then create buzz about themselves across the country, so that way they can more easily get to that point. But
mad respect for people that do that.
Mad respect, yeah. That's a big thing with especially solo artists, comedians and musicians alike, is like traveling around and just like crashing in your car, or like the van you managed to get, and then
fucking St. Francis still does that shit.
Yeah, exactly.
He still travels around in a car, books his own shit all year round, plays almost every day of the year.
Yeah, exactly. And then what really I think the biggest problem in that is like, it's great, you're good, like you're getting the promotion done, like you're doing the thing, but then you still have to. But nowadays you definitely have to have the access to online. You got to be able to post shit and then like put artwork out there to get people to want to listen to your shit, and then also like put it out there so that it gets in front of people to get it listened to. And so then like going out there and being physical and doing it all, that's great, but then like people are so everything is done online, and so people got to have that access to your music afterwards.
I heard somebody smarter than me tell it like this, and it was 10 years ago, somebody's walking down the sidewalk, they see the band poster outside the venue and be like, oh shit, I gotta go check that out next Friday.
Yeah.
And now if you put that same poster up, people are gonna ignore it while they're looking at their phone walking right by it.
Yeah, exactly.
So you might as well put that poster in their phone.
Yeah.
That you're
That's it. That's exactly it. Exactly it. And so that's that's the biggest thing now. It's like I think that's like probably the biggest problem that those kind of early stage performers have that are like just have this little bit so that way they can perform is like they need to like obviously that worked to a point.
Yeah.
Because that's all
you gotta have a social presence.
That's all anyone can do. But now you have to have
presence.
you have to have the internet presence, and so that's a big thing with like especially if you can manage to go viral, that'll pick up your career, and so. That's the whole reason the Catch Me Outside girl was famous because she went viral. Like if no one came, if she didn't go viral, she wouldn't be a rapper.
I think there's a lot of great and bad examples of that happening.
Yeah, but, but the first one that came to mind.
Yeah.
So there's there's just this. Yeah, you gotta have the internet presence and then that takes having some money from working, or doing something that you're getting paid doing. Hopefully from the whatever that it is you're pursuing. But then also that's the thing about then also kind of like you said, you're doing the job and kind of getting into that. It's like that's a big thing is a lot of times that when it like with anything when it takes too long it does get stale. You kind of get in like a swing and it does happen. And and when those people that go live in their car until they make it are the ones who like adamantly went, no, I'm not gonna do it. It's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna get settled in this shit. And then they just fucking like went out and they're like, I have to. And so then then there's definitely in Iowa like we got a good working class kind of people. And so like we got people that are okay with like having their job and then like still doing their fun thing on the side. There's a salesman dude I work with who's like nearing retirement. He's like probably 4 or 5 years out. Yeah. But he still gets like a new guitar occasionally and he just like jams out and he just loves like playing guitar and rocking out. And so like because he didn't pursue it as far as I know he didn't like pursue it as like a career goal. So because he didn't do that, he can now just do it as like a very fun passion hobby.
That's kind of where I'm at mentally.
Yeah. And so he still has it, and so he still seems frustrated at his job, I'm not gonna lie, but he's old, and so it's a kind of thing where like I just get like I do like my job, but even on like a good day there, I'm still like my brain goes to this will be fun to reflect on. Yeah. Because I want to work. Because I always wanted to be a musician.
Nothing wrong with that mentality, man.
Right. Yeah.
Set higher goals than where you're at.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's just like, but then everything takes. It's just like it's so funny to find out that people that I like find out about and look up to started doing the kind of shit that I'm doing at my age. Yeah. And then, because like sometimes you see people that are your age and have accomplished everything, and you're like, Jesus Christ! But then you see people who who are like 30 and they're like hugely famous and they're fine and they're good and they're happy and like they still got to live out their party years or whatever, and it was because they were pursuing their passion. And they tell you it always takes a long time. So one day you'll figure it out.
I still don't. I don't plan on necessarily paying the bills on making music ever. But I reached out to a buddy recently. We might try to do a mini tour.
Oh, hell yeah.
This year.
That'd be dope, yeah.
I don't want to throw anything out because I don't know what's going to happen.
Right, yeah.
Like spend a week, 2 weeks of the year doing that somewhere else. That's the kind of thing I'm thinking about.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I can definitely help you out with, because I know a bunch of artists in, like surrounding states and whatever, so I can definitely help you guys.
Right now I'm shooting for, Omaha and back.
Right, yeah.
Maybe in the future I could shoot all the way to Colorado and back.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah. That'd be fun
Nothing
to do.
Crazy,
a
but
trip out to Colorado.
Keep me busy doing the thing I like to do.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Do you play any other instruments besides guitar? Is that your main one?
Bass and piano. I wouldn't say that I'm real fluent in either. Yeah. But I taught myself that little slappy thing on acoustic for years and years. And then I bought a bass recently, and it's so much easier on a bass. So, I can show off and do all the slappy stuff on a bass, but then you get the traditional index middle on your right hand trying to play. I'm terrible, so I got a long ways to go on both. But guitar's my baby. Guitar is what I'm good at.
Right. Yeah.
But what I think I'm good at.
Yeah, definitely. No, yeah, I mean, guitar. That was my first instrument learning. Well, I mean, everyone's first instrument was a recorder, technically, if you weren't started out early by your parents. But yeah, no, that was the first instrument I chose, and really that was because of my brother. That was because of Joey, and so it was really because he always played, and I always wanted to do music, but I wasn't really sure, kind of what to do. But I was like, guitar looks cool. People like guitarists. This will make me like it. So it looks like it's fun. But maybe it'll make girls like me. Kind of did, but I was
don't hurt.
But yeah, no, it helps. But then it's the kind of thing that it's such a rocky start. Where you're just like, what am I doing here? And then eventually you get like the kind of muscles built up. And
I had a pretty musical family. Oops, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
My sister's really good at piano and can sing really well. My mom's the same way. Sister can read music, mom can't.
Yeah.
So I learned a little bit from both. And
right.
I forgot all the reading music abilities, but still, like, some of my favorite music has a female vocal lead. Some keyboard in it.
Yeah.
Like, I love Regina Spektor is like one of my favorite
artists. She is great.
And then like you can mix the two things. Like if you want to bring it into the hip hop world, like I'm really liking Lizzo right now.
Yeah.
And, like something about female leads and over top of anything like kind of shines harder to me than anything else.
Did you say, speaking of Lizzo, did you see her at the basketball game recently? Oh,
she was an A.
No, she was.
What?
She was at. It was just like video of her.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah, she had the whole cut and this really long T-shirt.
I heard somebody
at
work whining about it.
Like a black thong on. It was like. It's been a funny thing that people have been talking about, breaking it down because it was
pretty sports illiterate anymore, so I pick up on bits and pieces, but
it was just this funny thing where they showed it, and it's like when you see it at first, you're like, oh Jesus, it just fucking like catches you off guard because you're like, because it's not the kind of thing that would happen normally. It's just, but obviously she's like a heavier set woman, and so it's like. So that's the fight. So that's actually one of the things that they were joking about is that they were like, is that like the common theme was that everyone wanted to be like the majority of people were afraid to say what they wanted to say, which is that they had a problem, and they just like all jumped on the bandwagon of like, she's so brave. It's like you wouldn't be calling her brave if she was skinny. It's like if she was like a skinny hot chick. And at the same time,
if some skinny like quote unquote super hot chick was wearing the same thing, nobody probably even say shit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even made the minute news,
Yeah, they like it wouldn't have been talked about for nearly as long. It'd be mentioned out there, and it would be like some modeling fashion stunt, or like it would be like marked out as something like that. Like a couple places would call her a slut, and we'd move on. And so that's the kind of so it was really the whole thing of like she was only getting the attention. It was like it's like really. Really, it was a weird choice for a basketball game. Like she didn't have to be the center of attention at the game, but like
she's blowing up right now though.
She is.
Maybe she's just trying to blow up a little harder. I don't know.
Someone had the theory she was trying to scare off white suburban fans.
Yeah, she was not big, not very long. She wasn't one of the rappers that like I got to do shows with back in the day or nothing. But like, I've done things with guys that have been hanging out with her for a long time.
Oh wow.
And it's fun to know that she was down in the ranks
for
a long time.
Yeah, she's definitely killing it.
Working hard, and now she's selling out fucking Wells Fargo.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I don't know if she's actually playing Wells Fargo.
I know she played idea.
Target Center not too long ago in Minneapolis.
A lot of people don't like playing Iowa, I tell you what. People, fucking Andrew Dice Clay, I was just watching him on the Bert Kreischer podcast, and he was like, I ain't never fucking going to Iowa. He's like, there's no fucking way.
Tom Segura comes here a lot. I miss him
he
all
does,
the time,
yeah.
though.
He came down here for like 2 or 3 shows. Even I missed all of them.
I met Bert Kreischer too.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
I didn't see it. I missed it.
Oh, I thought okay.
I haven't seen any good comedians in Des Moines, even though it's a whole half hour away from me.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing is I actually saw Marlon Wayans here.
Yeah.
And
Maria Bamford was here not too long ago.
Oh hell yeah, she's great. She's great. I saw TJ Miller I saw here. But then otherwise, yeah, I was lucky enough I was able to get tickets to go see Bert. when he came through here in Des Moines this last time. And then I think he had even Tim Dillon opening for him is who it was. And so I was like, oh, fuck yeah, that dude's awesome. And so then I say all this shit. I'm like, I feel like anyone, because I talk about comedians and musicians that I like a lot with mostly comedians, with people that I have on here a lot. And I feel like people are going to start thinking, like, is he just trying to, like, get these people to, like, hear that he's talking about him and try to get in contact? Honestly, I just love talking about him because I'm a big fan.
I'm really infatuated with comedy.
I am too.
Really, I've been watching, like, when I was a little shit going camping.
Yeah.
My dad's friends would have projectors.
Oh, really?
With, like, George Carlin and Richard Pryor. And, like,
that's what's up.
We'd be sitting at, 10 o'clock at night under the stars watching the
Hell
shit.
Yeah.
Like, most of the jokes went right over my head back then.
Yeah.
But,
that's what's so fun about going back and watching it now. Yeah.
I love stand-up comedy. I will always support stand-up comedy.
Hell yeah. It's fantastic. It really is fantastic. It's a fantastic fucking art form.
And comedians and musicians can coexist pretty peacefully.
They do. They really do.
There's not a lot of stepping on each other's toes.
No. Jerry Seinfeld put it in the way that he was like, we're kind of like chimps and orangutans. Like, we know we're similar. Yeah. We just don't really know how. Like that's how I described it. And so I was like, honestly, that makes a lot of sense. It's like we are all like these similar chimps running around with a similar mindset, but it's just like the fact that one kind of person is thinking in like harmonies and more of a poetry manner, whereas comedians have that same kind of thing where they're thinking of the rhythm and the setup and like how things go in the proper order and how they should do it. And like, so it's like it's all the same except when you accept the fact that one is attributing in like the pitch of how it's going to harmonize, and then the one product has like instruments and like an album that you can like listen to a lot and actually fall more in love with. The other one is amazing for a while, and then eventually you're like, okay, write something new.
I feel like musicians just tend to push an expression or an emotion.
Yeah.
Whereas like a comedian can't do that. A comedian has to like vibe off of the emotion coming back as well.
Right. Yeah.
Where a musician's just push. Yeah. And comedians kind of gotta be a lot more cautious. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. It's
like, all right, here it comes. Here's the silence. This is where I can kill that punchline.
Yeah.
Or God forbid, like somebody heckles a musician. Who gives a fuck? I'll just play louder than him.
Right.
Or her.
Just drown him out.
A comedian that could wreck your whole set. They I don't know if you ever heard that. Patton Oswalt, he's talking about his worst set ever.
Yeah.
And some dude just yells, and he's just like,
he says it like he was just pointing out that he was a faggot.
Like about ready to shit his pants and throw up. At the same time,
got everything plugged
sweating, and the guy just right at the beginning, his whole set hasn't
said a word.
Like without him getting a chance to redeem himself, he's already fucked.
The second he walked, he's super sick. Took all these meds. He'll say he walks out, doesn't say a word. This dude just says faggot.
Yeah.
And then it gets this fucking, and then he just like, and then it hits him.
And the whole crowd laughs at the guy.
Whole crowd laughs, and then he says he feels shit slowly coming out, and then he just like, and he just introduces the next comic and leaves the stage. Dude. Yeah.
But that is why I'm just trying to explain why they're different, but that is also why I would never do it.
Yeah,
it's so scary to me.
It's definitely it is a very different ball field, and it's definitely. And actually, I recently heard. I think I probably said this on the podcast, but I was listening to the Conan O'Brien podcast.
Oh yeah, I've checked out a couple episodes.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. And so then, but he had in this last episode, he was talking to Jack Black, and they were basically talking about how people have told them that they're making a living out of something that should be diagnosed. Like,
probably
like the kind of thing.
How do you know how many comedians do you know that are totally mentally stable? But
I think one, honestly, but I don't know much about him.
like who is mentally stable in general. But
yeah, exactly.
Comedians tend to have an edge with their
whether life was really all that crazy or not, it's just like there's some kind of it's like there's something in the brain of a comedian, myself included. So this is me not talking out of talking. This isn't me talking outside of school. This is just like because like I that's really the reason I pursued it was because it was like I was always into music forever because I thought it was giving me I'm still into music. I still like making music here and there, but I'm now in this rush of comedy because I was like, I now have this feeling of like, is this what I was chasing with music?
Could be
just because of like the way the community reacts, and then like
social networking.
Yeah, and like
meeting new people.
Yeah, there's like because definitely the community of comedians interacts with each other differently than the community of musicians interacts with each other, and
for sure.
And so it's definite. So I think I was like, because I realized probably not too long ago that the reason anyone does anything is they're chasing a feeling, or is because they have developed like the feeling that they have to do it, and so it's like that's really why. So then I was like, oh, that change like and ever since I realized that, I was like, that really kind of changes everything, because that means that's why, because like really that's why anyone does comedy, or that's why like Neil Brennan, a great amazing stand-up comic. He used to be one of the writers for the Chappelle Show.
Okay. I know the name. I can't place a face.
Oh, it's all good. He has a special on Netflix called Three Mics you can check out. But he's really great, and he has a point where he's like, really the only thing I appreciate anymore these days, or that I'm interested in at all, is new ideas. And it's because he had like a hard childhood coming up. It's like, we were saying before, it's like some trauma that led him to do comedy.
Yeah.
And it's really because doing comedy helps you, and it's really what comedy does is that it like lets you mock things that, or like watch things get mocked that literally give you like potentially crippling anxiety or something on a daily basis, and then go, it's not so bad. Yeah, it's definitely therapy.
Yeah,
so.
Music is too, and
exactly.
That's why I think we get a lot. The comedians and musicians.
Yeah.
Oh, you took the left path to do that. I took the right path to do.
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Yeah,
whatever.
Very much so. Yeah. And you think that's why you get drawn back to music all the time yourself? Is it just that it just like you love that feeling of like the sounds and
I told you I did the hip hop stuff for a while when I first got into music, and then after that I got into a band with my buddies Kiefer, Frankie, and Bart. And I was just a guitarist at the time, and we played like 4 hours, but we had about an hour of originals, and the 3 hours were covers.
Yeah.
And we played anything from like fucking, Afro Man to Ted Nugent, which couldn't be more opposite.
Oh, hell yeah, very opposite.
Sprinkle some Jason Mraz and some Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young in there, and like we did it all. We just did all these different.
That's fun.
And that's
too.
fun. And like I was 19 at the time, 20, 21. And we were playing at like Capone's and shit a lot, and places down in Des Moines. And
right.
We made money, and we had a lot of fun, and we got really drunk, and all the kids that were watching us were the same age and stuff. And now I realize, for me personally, I get more enjoyment for playing my own shit the way I want to.
Yeah.
For 5 people than I did a whole bar full of people back in the day. Playing,
really like
whatever hit song they wanted to hear that year, and and I find total respect in both. Like, I'm not trying to shit on cover bands at all.
Right.
I think they bring, especially in Iowa, a lot of people happiness, because there's a lot of people in Iowa that are never gonna get outside of their musical box. It's not playing on the radio and stuff, and cover bands offers them live music.
Very true.
The only way that they know how to access it.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I like that. One kid comes up and said, I really like that line that you said, even though there's only 10 people in the bar when I played. I'll take that every day of the week over making money playing some covers in front of them.
I don't, dude. Yeah, that's insane. That's exactly the kind of vibe that I feel like I pick up on in people when I can tell that they have that kind of feeling about the music. 'Cause I love it. Yeah. Like, because there's like that, like there's a reason that when I hear this is gonna sound kind of weird, but because I've referenced him a few times, I think, but like Jim Carrey, like just like when people hear him talk, they're like, most of the time they're like, oh, this fucking crazy dude, and I'm like, he's not crazy though, like he's just figured out what we're doing and that we're chasing, like what we're chasing. And what is really going on. He figured it out. Yeah. And so he's like in this place of just like nirvana where he's just like happy. He gets the way he can work, and he like just only does shit he wants to do. And like he's just like this huge artist. He paints all the time. Yeah. And so he's, and so,
I like Jim Carrey a lot.
Yeah, he's great.
I used to watch him on In Living Color when I was a little kid.
Oh really? Yeah. Hell yeah. So hell yeah. So I kind of learned about him kind of late. How was it? So if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 32.
32. Okay, so
this last year.
Right on. Right on, nice. So that, yeah, definitely. So I could, yeah, you probably had to, yeah, you definitely had a better chance of catching on to that earlier.
And I'm the youngest of 6, so my older siblings pushed MTV on me and all sorts of shit.
Definitely, hell yeah, and that's like that's always like a big perk of having the older siblings that get into all that. Is like that's a big way to learn about all the new
stuff that I would have just missed if I didn't have 5, 6 older siblings all watching all that stuff when I was I would have found all that by myself.
Yep.
So
That's always good, and that's why I was happy to have the experience, like at least have that as like a source from Joey when he was like around more often. Because I would like learn about all this new shit going on, like what people are getting into and everything. So that kind of helps you get like kind of find that community and kind of helps you figure out how to find it on your own and whatever. Yep. But yeah, it's definitely like I've definitely found myself kind of how you were saying earlier. Is you've now found the joy in doing your own shit. Yeah. Is because I would say any creative type always starts out doing other people's stuff. Yeah. Just because you're getting the feel of what it is to do it.
Some fashion or another, at least just to learn a song.
Exactly,
You're not typically writing a song before you played a note before.
Yeah, exactly. And so, you always got to at least play a note. Because like just like that first time you play a string or even one note on a guitar, it is nothing what you anticipated it to be. And so just because it wasn't something you've ever done, so you didn't have, what any kind of, anyway, it's just, you just don't know what to expect. And so it's just like, it's okay. So it's just, it's kind of one of those things, maybe it draws you in at first and you kind of start doing it on your own. You're like, no, maybe this isn't me. But it always was something that drew me in was music. And so like for a while, I was definitely the dude who was just like all day, I'm like playing guitar, I'm like trying to like, or I'm in band practice, or I'm like hanging, or like I'm trying to make a band, or I'm trying to set it, like just like trying to just do everything in music because I'm like in high school and I literally don't have to work. And,
I miss that shit.
And so I'm just like, right, yeah. So like literally nothing going on in life, so you just have all the time to just like as long as you pass in school, to just like just do music. And just fuck around with that. If you and to the listeners, if you hear any kind of background shouting, that is my family. Don't worry.
They seem cool.
Yeah, they're good. And so, but I'm sure. I think probably what happened. Probably my brother came over, and so they're good. So they all get into stuff. We're a kind of we're a passionate family, so we get into a topic, and then you can definitely hear us. And so then
I don't come from a quiet family.
Yeah, but but yeah, no. But what I was saying before, anyway, was the point of it was just that like. I hit that point where even after playing like cover songs in bands and like just trying like writing shitty songs, I like alone and with the band and just like getting like getting that foundation of just fucking around and putting something out there. That's it. I mean, every performer needs it to then kind of get into the groove of things.
I read one of those articles on Facebook. I didn't even click on it, so it's probably not true, but it said something to the effect of, it probably is true. I feel this, I believe it right away, but it said something to the effect of, even if you make poor art, it's mentally healthy for you.
Yeah.
And it's well, of course it is. Yeah. Like it's and I'm kind of speaking, do as I say, not as I do a little bit here, but like I don't paint and I don't write poetry much other than it's a song, and I don't like do all these things, but like I pump out 20 shitty songs a year that I don't ever show anybody. And just because I don't like them doesn't mean that I didn't have a lot to gain from writing them.
Exactly.
So like, I'm also kind of the guy that's like, whenever I hear somebody say, "Oh, I can't play music," well, obviously you haven't practiced.
Yeah.
But then I'm the same guy that says, "Oh, I can't paint," and then my friends are like, "Oh, you haven't practiced."
Yeah,
and they're
exactly.
right, and they're totally
That's
right.
very true. Very true.
No matter what you're doing, do something. Yeah. Get it off your chest.
Yeah.
Stop bottling it up.
Exactly.
And that's kind of the part where I'm like, do as I say more than I do because I bottle it up real bad. But
actually I did.
It's good for you.
It very much is. And when I was growing up, I never thought I didn't know I was going to take a musical path. Growing up, originally, like I really liked music. But it was always really fun, and I was really like, wow, this sounds so cool. It makes me feel cool. It makes me feel good. But I was like always a drawer. I was always like huge into drawing. So even like with music where you start playing cover songs, I did a lot of kind of tracing stuff. I did a lot of tracing stuff because I was like kind of getting down sort of kind of just the act of doing doing that style,
getting muscles comfortable and
exactly
used to the shapes and the colors and
exactly. And so it was like, so sometimes I'd have some like real complex drawings where it was like some of it was drawn, some was traced. Some of it was just like all traced, and it was like all hand drawn, and obviously it was like a lot worse if it was hand drawn, but it was all just, but like I did that for a long time until I started doing freehand.
Yeah.
And like so I felt comfortable doing that, and I had a good sense of like where to do things, and like I had the muscle control to draw lightly, so that way I can plan it before I like commit and all that shit. And so honestly, that's the biggest thing that keeps people from, even if they are artistic, pursuing like a career in a creative art like entertainment is that they just can't handle it not being good.
Yeah.
They can't handle the idea of them thinking they're good at this thing and then putting it out there and then it being rejected.
Sure.
And I feel that's pretty obvious, I think, but like I think like with some people, they also get like, because there's a lot of ways that people find themselves in situations by accident, and one of them can be that where they find themselves just one day they accidentally found themselves being like, well, like it's not very good, so I just kind of don't do it, and then I'll pursue it, and then like sometimes you hear it and you're like, yeah, you were right to stop, but then sometimes you hear it and you're like, are you sure you want to quit right now? Like, maybe you want to put out like one more album, like just see how it goes. Because there was some band I heard that took them this is their 4th album and they just finally got famous, so it take a long time.
Some people knock it out of the park first one. Some people don't get famous till they're about dead.
Yeah,
it happens.
It happens. Yeah. Who is it? So who are you listening to nowadays that you love them?
Well, I told you I didn't listen to popular stuff for a long, long time.
Right.
And so like 5 years ago or so, I started giving top 40 artists a chance, and the radio play a chance, and I started to stop being such a hipster snob.
I feel you
and,
there.
So like right now, it's gonna sound sarcastic, but I really like Lil Pump.
Yeah.
And, I know I'm aware that it's bad.
It is.
And I'm aware that there shouldn't be the people that I'm not trying to sell it to other people. But I do like Lil Pump. But like people that aren't silly, I like Astronautilus a lot. I like Danny Brown. I like
Danny Brown's great.
My favorite artist in the world is Buck 65. I love that guy a lot.
Right on.
I like Chesky a lot. I don't know if you ever heard Chesky. Ceschi.
I don't think I have, no.
He's a guy to check out. I think he's out of like Connecticut or something, but saw him at Fairfield, Iowa one time, not just a couple of years ago. Yeah. He blew it out of the water there.
Oh, yeah, man.
Lizzo. Stuff like, I'm just not used to saying names that other people know when it comes to rap. Like, it used to be...
I stopped giving a shit about that forever ago.
Punk and stuff that everybody was, but my underground hip-hop thing was like my own little... private thing or whatever, and I don't feel that way anymore. I think it's silly to feel that way. You should like what you like and
big time
not care what anybody else thinks about it.
That's a big thing nowadays, especially is like if you look back at the reason that
if you like Nickelback, fucking listen to Nickelback.
Just looking at who cares?
Care.
I feel you there. I
don't love them.
Yeah,
but
it's
like,
the kind of thing.
If you do and you had a bond with somebody about it, like love that shit.
Yeah, exactly. It's the kind of thing that like for a long time there was very limited ways you could be famous as a performer, and there was only certain options you had to do for music.
Yeah.
And so it was like, obviously if you just follow the same path that everyone else is following, then you'll make it if you're good. And then if you work hard and you make it, you're good, and then like you advertise it and then like or whatever. But nowadays, same thing as with because like through high school it was very much like you probably liked a lot of the same stuff your friends were listening to, just because there's a lot of fit in kind of mentality going on at that point. But then especially outside of school, once school's done and once you're like just living in your own world and you actually start developing legitimately personal opinions about things, then I think that's when people start listening to the things that people don't really know and like people are more unfamiliar with, because they're like less likely to be like, oh, I need to know about this for later for these people. And so that's just a theory, but
just becoming more independent, really.
Yeah, exactly.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so and that's with a lot of things, honestly. But it's kind of the similar thing with like the way people get news nowadays, and like with all like the way streaming is.
Get out of a small town.
Exactly. Too. It's an amazing thing to get out of a small town.
Mentality, at least for a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
See the other side.
You gotta say.
Not that Ames is a big New York City,
No, but no,
I do
exactly.
think there's plenty more diverse opinions and ideas and beliefs here than
big time.
Webster or Algona.
Yeah, 100%, dude. 100%. And that's the thing too is coming from Webster City to here, that is like a big move, and saying and it is cool here, and I do like it here to a certain extent, except it's kind of boring, unless you're a college kid who likes to drink, and then right. but then there's plenty of shows and shit going on to check out, but then whatever. But so I've kind of had the thought of like, I'll start off here, maybe I'll get maybe I'll do a couple, maybe I'll stick around here a couple more years. I've lived here since I was like 11.
Yeah.
And so I was like, maybe I'll stick around here a couple more years. Excuse me. And get material built up, like get myself kind of structured as like a stand-up. Get like a lot more knowledgeable in audio engineering, like working Fruity Loops here, and like get the podcast up off the ground and get that get that kind of running where I'm more like solid in it. Like I've heard the advice of like let the first 30 episodes suck, and then just like get your groove and then then go from there.
I think that's true with anything. It's the same thing as I was saying before. Like somebody says, "Oh, I suck at music." Well, you haven't tried it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I suck at podcasts. Well, you haven't tried it. Well, I suck at stand up. Well, you haven't tried it. Like,
huge. That's a huge thing. You gotta actually do it to get better. It's like just because like there are people, because like there are comedians who they have a very common story of the fact that they'll have, there's not a lot, but there are comedians that have like the same story of like their family even will be like, they definitely think that they're way funnier than their like professional comedian friend, and they're like, if I actually pursued comedy, I could make a pretty good living out of it. And they're like, yeah, but why aren't you doing it then? Like if it's something you would succeed at, then you would do it.
Sure.
It's like, but the actual fact of the matter is just like picking up a guitar for the first time. When you first go up go up on that mic in front of those people, you find out every joke you just wrote is fucking horrible. You haven't even said them yet. You haven't said them yet. But once you're in the
these fuckers aren't gonna laugh at that shit.
Yeah, then you're like, oh, maybe. Then you go, oh shit, maybe I'm not that funny. And so that's like
I was thinking too. I don't mean to interrupt, but reaching back, we were saying how for me, music is making it, whether I let somebody else hear the song or not, is healthy. Yeah, I bet. I'm assuming, looking from the outside in, I bet when a comedian gets a bunch of laughs, there's nothing healthier than that. Nothing. I bet that's so refreshing.
It's great. It's so good. Yeah.
I mean, I like making my buddies laugh, that's has its own. Yeah. But I bet making a whole crowd of people laugh feels fucking good.
Oh yeah, dude. And like, and I haven't gotten like, I haven't gotten like, like the biggest pop that I've been in the same room to hear, but like I've had a couple. But like now that I've done it for about 6 months or so, I completely forgot what month I started. I want to say around August, but like, but since I started, like first show, fucking horrible. I made one person laugh once, so that was something. But then like, but then after that, it was just like I was going to these shows and I was just kind of talking, forgetting all my material, just like nerves getting the best of you. Now that I've kind of like worked out like enough material to fit 5 minutes, I also have gone enough to realize that like. It's another thing with how I think today as a person, especially when I don't let my mind get too idle for too long, is that realizing that they're not thinking about me after I left. Like no one's judging me like nearly 10% as hard as I'm judging myself. No. And so I'm like, I'm like, God damn, like that. And so like, because then you find that out when people are laughing at jokes they've already heard because they're like, oh, you really forgot. And so then like, so that helped me a lot. And then going to the open mics and seeing people not get really any laughs on multiple sets helps so much. Sure. Because you're like, shit, it could be so much worse. Because like, especially when like you're still like kind of working out like a 5 minutes. Because like I got like here soon, I'm gonna have to scrap the 5 minutes that I have, or at least put it aside and then work on new shit so I don't get repetitive. Mm-hmm. But like, you always
as a comedy fan, I appreciate hearing that.
Yeah.
I hate seeing the same 5 minutes.
Yeah. Over, dude. Yeah. Exactly. Well, hell yeah. They say so. Like, yeah, and you get it. Is another thing. It's like this. Like once you realize that's kind of what's going on, then you get that. And so that's a big thing with the open micers is they get it too. I always see the experienced ones coming on maybe even every week or every couple weeks with like maybe I hear a couple repeats, but they've mixed it into another like a new or
differently.
They've like added another couple minutes of jokes or like they've rearranged things or something. So it's like it's definitely a form you can play with a lot and mix it up and then keep it fresh. So that's always refreshing.
I didn't really think about it until we were talking just now, but like, I try to sneak some jokes into my music.
Oh, do you?
Like, not always, but there's a couple that are fun.
Yeah.
And funny.
Right, yeah.
And so, like, I'll get, like, one of them's called Chuckle Fucking.
Yeah, I heard that one.
So,
yeah,
like,
I did listen to that
like,
one.
definitely the
Yeah.
elbow to the ribs,
Yeah.
kind of like wink, like,
Yeah.
this is going to be a fun one. Like,
Yeah.
all the other ones are typically sad, and I'm yelling at you for not being grateful about shit or whatever.
Right,
but
yeah, exactly.
sometimes, yeah. I gotta get that little bit of laughter out there too when I can.
Yeah, and that's actually another reason I pursue comedies. I realized I would write a lot of stuff a lot of times when I wrote, I always wanted it to be funny.
Yeah.
I was like, and then like that dawned on me later. I was like, that really is the kind of my writing style. I'm like, even when I'm like, this is like, I want this to be dramatic. I still am like, I still find myself like, even in person, if my brain gets like upset, if I'm like mad, then I'm just like a dick. But like, but if I get like energy like annoyed, frustrated, or whatever, where it's just like, okay, what the fuck? But then like I'm like caught off guard and it just goes crazy. I'm still kind of a dick, but it's like funny.
Yeah.
To the point where I just start making jokes and I'm like making fun of what's going on, and then I just can't help it. Like, 'cause I catch myself a lot of times being like, I probably took that too far. But
I try to joke down tense situations when I can.
Me too. Yeah, I feel you there.
Bring it down.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Later.
That's a big. I hate being in it, dude. Yeah,
Parents fighting at the table, kind of shit. Like, come on, everybody. Let's calm down. Let's get back to eating.
It's a big place it comes from. It's a big place it comes from too. Yeah. If you grew up in a hostile family, like Joe Rogan kind of had that too. He said the reason he was always
said that too.
Oh really?
He's a kid, he always tried to make people laugh because that's the only way he could like feel a part of with the adults.
I could see that.
Or whatever,
right? Yeah. 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 It was just like it's just like this thing like when you grow up around like intensity or like anything could happen any minute. That's just how you are as a person. And so then like Joe Rogan, that was like when he found weed, he was like, oh fuck, it tames the beast. Like, so it's like and he found it. He didn't even start smoking till he was like 30. So he had been done developing for a while. So he's totally fine. And he's a very smart dude. Yeah. And he's like but then he smokes. And he doesn't smoke as often as you think. He's like literally like, I'll smoke like one joint a day maybe. And then like Wiz Khalifa was like, really?
Well,
like,
shit, he's working out all the time and shit.
Yeah, he does so much. He's out like he'll go all the way to Utah
with his protein shakes. And shit.
yeah. He runs the On It Vitamin Company, and he does he fucking works out all the time. And he like does a ton of podcasts. Like his isn't specific to a day.
I've seen a lot of Joe's. Shit.
Yeah. Oh, he does a lot of shit.
Like the stand up too.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's funny. Oh, dude, I fucking love his stand up. His so many comedians have commented on the fact that that they wish that they could have named their special Strange Times. Yeah. Because it's just like because that's just like the best way to explain the climate we're in. It's just the strange times, and so it's like, and so he just really nails it. And
I think sometimes he plays off being smarter than he is. But sometimes he'll call himself out for that at the same time. So like,
I've heard him say.
I think he's a better interviewer than like some kind of smart resource.
Right.
But I do think that he's a great interviewer.
And that's actually the thing too, is like he's such a great interviewer that it's like he knows the right kind of questions to ask, and he actually understands the topic that he's interviewing the incredibly smart person about, and he can keep up with them. Yeah. And so that's when when he brings on like the NASA dudes who like, I don't know if you saw the ones where he had like on Bob Lazar, and then like this other military pilot, I believe he is.
I don't think so. I don't think I've seen.
They're kind of Bob Lazar was kind of a little while ago, a few months. But then the other one was maybe it was just like not quite as long ago, but they both have, Bob Lazar was like a dude who he worked with alien spacecrafts and that kind of thing. So he came and talked to him, and then like the other and then the other astronaut came in was a guy who was the one who caught footage of unidentified UFOs on the aircraft cameras, and
Joe fucking eats that shit.
Yeah, dude. It's like the people that he asks in are completely credible, and we don't have to get into it. I'm just saying it's just but it's that level of he has a legitimate military grade professional, smart, clean, non-drug using, maybe light drinkers occasionally, just people that have to have the kind of brain capacity to be able to operate these insanely fucking billion-dollar planes. That he's just if you're gonna believe anyone, why not the guy who filmed the fucking thing? Mm-hmm. And so it's so I just love that aspect, Because and that's even if it's not about aliens, even if it's like even if he had like Tulsi Gabbard on, he still has the same kind of aspect going into it of just like he wants to get down to the bottom.
I think it's funny because a lot of people hate him for being a jock.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of women
sexist,
say they don't like him.
Misogynistic jock and stuff, and I mean I'm a guy, so I'm probably very biased, but I don't see it very much.
I don't either.
And
I don't see any reason.
In fact,
anyone
I
like
see
him.
him being more liberal and stuff more often than conservative and stuff. But I do like that I disagree with him on different things, and it's my problem with him is usually typically his liberal shit, like his his isolation chambers and DMT and the third eye and all that kind of shit. He starts losing me on all that shit. You're a little too left for me, Joe. You know. But like then I'll get done listening to an episode like that, and somebody's like, "He's such a dumb jock," and I'm like, "You apparently, I mean, he is. He's also a dumb jock.
Yeah,
but like, he's a pretty well versed dumb jock. You know?
Ultimate. Yeah, he's like
well cultured, well experienced. He's got friends in everything.
And that's what saves him. Really, is like he's not just like because he's not just like some because he's really not just some dumb jock. Right. Like he's actually cultured, and he actually does, and he does do a lot of physical things, like he hunts his own. He's big into health.
He used to be an MMA fighter and stuff. Yeah,
so like he did it for a little while. Yeah,
label him at first sight or whatever.
And but seeing him with where he is now and what he does and everything with where he was, especially when he was doing this show news radio and he was like doing all this other shit that was like. Just more like manly man, like Fear Factor,
Fear Factor,
like, he has like because he's like big time, dude. It's the kind of thing where like like a lot of women don't like. I've heard a lot of women say they don't like him because of the energy, but it's like but it's also the kind of people they date. And so it's like you only don't like him is because you're seeing him at like his full entertainment level. It's like because it's like you don't watch his podcast, you don't watch anything that's like this is him really. You're just watching him as like this is him as a tough guy we put him on TV as. And so like I think that's their issue, but then definitely like when I've
probably been guilty of it with like the opposite. I've probably been guilty where somebody's got a show and I'm like, oh, that's too like feminine for me to think I like a lot or something. I don't even have an example, but I'm sure I've made the same mistake. I'm not trying to be better than. Yeah. I just noticed that he does get a lot of dumb jock hate kind of stuff, you know, and it's like, whatever.
Yeah, he does get
Let him hate him. Yeah. He's got enough fans already. He's got a good thing going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we did. Yeah, I do love talking about him. But not like I said. That was more like an apostrophe em for them, not him. But Joe Rogan included. I just love talking about comedians because their whole job is exploring ideas and absurdities and everything, and they literally work with people that if they say something that's too dumb, will be ripped the fuck apart. Yeah. And so it's like the kind of thing where you have to like really. Yeah, I really believe it because they'll skew your view because like comedians, definitely the good ones are ones that are like up on how things like actually work and how people like interact and how like they're the kind of people who break down crazy situations. They're often very I would say at least most of the times like the real big ones are very smart people. Yeah. So they notice these things that we do that are patterns that are just self-destructive. And then, so that they break it down, and then a lot of people will often not like them because they just got told what they're doing wrong in their life and why it's wrong, and then they realize why it's wrong, and then they go, well, "How dare you tell me that?" And then you get a lot of haters. But then, but they're also the kind of people that are like, "That's fine if you disagree. I spent my whole life trying to convince people." Yeah. So they're like they're used to it. So
I really like, as far as comedians go right now, I think Tom Segura's up there for me.
Fucking love Tom.
I think he might be one of the pillars by the time I'm old and stuff. He might be like one of the...
Yeah.
He'll be John Mulaney, man. I think John Mulaney's gold. I like that he's PG, too. He can do it all.
He can. He really can do it all. He can... John Mulaney's a murderer. He's definitely like one of my top comedians of all time.
Because anybody can make a dick and fart joke. I mean, anybody can make a dick fart joke, but like
usually it comes down to literally just farting.
To be able to make the 6-year-old up to the 96-year-old laugh all at the same time, that's talent.
That's real talent, dude. He fucking coming off of like as a Saturday Night Live writer, and then like he like finding out what like just like what ones he was involved in, and they're like often like my favorite sketches.
Yeah.
Like
I don't
from
know
the time
anything
period.
about him other than his few specials on Netflix.
Right.
But
Yeah, definitely. No, yeah, and see, and honestly, if that's all someone knows, I'm like, you're still on a good path because that's good shit. Because it's like because his specials are fantastic. He's an insanely good comedian. He fucking and then like. Just finding out about the other shit that he did is just like icing on the cake, you know. And so he's one I want to see live.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I love to see him and Tom and
yeah.
Maybe once people stop hating on Louis, I can go see him again. He'll always like. I'm not saying he's a great person or anything, but he'll always be one of my favorites too. He made me laugh a lot.
Me too. Yeah, that's a real tragic side of that whole thing. Yeah, it's just like. Not nearly as bad as like what some other cases have been, if we're being honest. But it's like, but that's not the. But even when I've talked to other people, it's like you can't say that he's not kind of creepy.
He's got to be a douche, probably. But and then you get in the whole argument of the separate the art from the artist, and I'm pretty for it. I think it depends. Like I don't want to support monsters. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to be going out buying a whole bunch of R. Kelly albums anytime soon.
Yeah, me either.
But I do think both good and bad people can create things that are good.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that good people can benefit from art that's created by bad people.
Yeah.
And while I believe that, again, I'm still not going to go out of my way to support monsters and terrible people. But
yeah,
I also think shaming somebody for liking a song just because it was written by a douchebag I don't think that's right.
That is a hard discussion that people have had ever since it became more prevalent about Michael Jackson and everything. Is like, can you still listen to music and support him? And I think people prove with Michael Jackson that you definitely can. And so like
they're not willing to let go of that.
They're not.
Music.
Yeah, they're like yeah, exactly. Because they don't want. Yeah, they're like, you know what? He was like because he was such a ginormous icon for the black community that like definitely like they didn't want to let it go, and then like even white people were still like it doesn't matter who you are. Michael Jackson crossed all these barriers before like people like came to like a wide conclusion that like it was very likely that some of these things might have happened. Yeah, and so like it was this, but it's the same thing that happens with any huge icon that falls. It's like you see like with Cosby or Louis. It's like they all had this time when they were revered and it's just like, oh, they're so amazing, and then you find out that behind closed doors there's they're like a monster, and then you're like, fuck, like what have I been supporting? And so then that's when that's when people start to believe things that they wouldn't have believed before, and that sort of thing. It's like it's like and then it's hard to let go of a hero. Yeah. It's like for anyone who Cosby was a hero to, they're going to be like...
There's a big difference between Cosby and Louis.
Yeah. Huge fucking difference. I mean,
besides what they had done wrong, that is very different, but their reactions to it are also both very different.
Very different.
Where I think Louis is like, I suck.
Yeah.
And he's trying to atone for it. Whereas I think Cosby shows no intent of atoning for anything.
No.
And he thinks he's still in the right.
Yeah. He does. Yeah.
And I think that is much more important than what we live in an age now where Twitter's the judge and jury a lot of the time, and like I think that's good for a lot of reasons, and I also think that's bad for a lot of reasons. And I think you need to give some, like, a lot of people hate this stuff, but the Michael Vick thing, I don't know what a guy can do more than what Michael Vick has done to try to atone and change for what he's done.
Right.
And people are hating him for like wanting to. What is he doing? Like coaching the Pro Bowl or something? Like he's not even doing a real thing.
I had heard it.
It's like he did actual prison time. He pumps millions of dollars into animal cruelty charities. He hasn't done a shit since. And I'm not saying he wasn't a scumbag, and I'm not saying that he might not still be. But does no one have a chance of redemption if they've gone down a dirty path?
That is a tough road to walk down. Tough road to walk down, my friend. That is a big thing.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get all of that.
No. That's totally perfect. That's actually a big thing that attributes to kind of my attitude towards life these days. Is like I hate I hate that I hated that for at least that maybe it's better now and I haven't realized, but I hated that at least for a long time. It seemed that the get up for everyone in my age group was like, oh, I'm so sad, and like doing anything isn't worth it, and like why would I do something for fun so that you have so that you're happy later, like so like I kept getting into this stuck in this vortex of like maybe I was an asshole for some time in high school, but then again.
I know I've been a dick playing.
Yeah, exactly.
I made so many mistakes.
Yeah, oh yeah,
And if people didn't offer me the chance to correct them and educate me to become a better person.
Nope. And that's
I would have been stuck in that same small town.
Yeah.
Awful path that that a lot of my friends and family are still in, you know.
Yeah, and a lot of times, and a lot of times I've realized people don't often find out that they fucked up in the moment or like when they should have.
Yeah.
You know, people are often afraid of the interaction that they have to have with them if they actually be honest with them and tell them what was wrong about what happened. And so then people continue to do these bad things. And so then that's another thing I've been trying to work a lot on is like prefacing, hey, still want to be your friend.
Yeah.
Problem is this thing. And so then like, it's just we fall into these into resentment.
It's a balance too, because you can't just forgive everybody just because they said sorry.
Yeah, exactly. It is a balance,
but you can't. But you gotta offer people
you have to actually consider
honest redemption paths.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just dooming them and never.
Yeah.
You're setting a life for them to only be angry at people the rest of their life, and that's only gonna spin bad vibes and emotions the rest of their life. Where if you offer them redemption, they could change for the better and actually push out good the rest of their life.
Yeah. Which is why, you know, like in the grand scheme, which is why in the difference between Cosby and Louis is I think Louis can actually come back and
I think so too.
Be touring again. Cosby has no fucking.
He doesn't care.
He doesn't give a fuck. He is down as like the largest serial rapist in history that they know about. And so, like, it's just like...
And he was yelling at, what was it, Eddie Murphy?
Eddie Murphy?
And shit?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Fuck you, Cosby.
That's the thing. His ego is so big, he got mad at every comedian for cussing or saying things that weren't, like, his style. So his ego was so fucking astronomical from being this icon that he was made out to be for his time leading up to him being called out by Hannibal Buress. Yeah. That he just like had this huge ego trip that no one could touch him, and that he had the right to tell you what you should do with your craft. And so it's the kind of thing that made you hate him, even if he wasn't raping. Like if he wasn't raping anyone, he was still a fucking asshole.
Yeah,
you know. And so it's like, and like I never like grew up in the kind of. It's just too bad
they got him so late,
right?
Because he's hardly even there anymore. I think.
Yeah. Because, he even made the statement on the jury, like, I'm too old to rape anybody. Like, you weren't when you raped them. You know? It's like, there's, like, where do you think you are, Cosby? Like, like in court, he was like, I'm too old. I couldn't have raped all those women in 1980. Like, you were a lot younger.
5 minutes ago.
Yeah. This is, exactly.
I really think he's just lost it at this point.
Yeah, he's probably a little senile.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, you know, anyway. It's we're coming about 90 minutes here. I know you said you didn't have anything like any shows coming up or whatever. I'll be getting a hold of you to try to hopefully here soon. I try to get at least one set up here at Mother's Pub. But
yeah, that'd be cool.
But yeah, what was the title of your solo album that you released last year?
RPOS.
RPOS. That
was
it.
Of shit.
Yeah, Real Piece of Shit.
Yeah.
And then where's that at?
Bleujack.bandcamp.com.
And that is BLEUJACK.
Like the blue cheese.
Yeah, like the blue cheese. All right. Well, it's kind of a downer note to end on, but we'll try to brighten it up here. What's one of your favorite things that you've learned in your through life getting up to this point? Like through like pursuing music and just kind of something that you kind of think about that maybe kind of gives you purpose.
It's all them dumb fucking things you'd see written on like shit, in a Hobby Lobby like thing you'd hang on your wall or whatever. But like, love life, man. Like for real,
right?
Like whatever you gotta do to find it, whether it's the little things or the little song on the radio between work, or if it's making music, or if it's helping your neighbor, or whatever brings you joy, you got to make sure to hold on to it. Otherwise, we're living in a
Yeah.
time that lets you get trapped in your own head too
yeah.
much a little bit. You gotta get out,
Very much.
force yourself to be social a little
Yeah.
bit, see some good people,
Exactly.
be happy and grateful.
I agree with you,
know?
there. Definitely get out and have experiences and
Yeah.
actually, find the reason that people say life is fun, and then you'll know.
Yep.
So, well, you know what, man? Thank you very much for being here today. It was fantastic to meet you.
Yeah, you
you're,
too.
You're a super cool guy. I'll definitely have you back on again. Like whenever you got something coming up, just
Right
let me
on.
know. We can definitely have you on. Get some promotion out there for it. Thank you everybody for listening today. My name is Jordan Clemens. And this is Jordan Bleujack Voigt.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got anything else you want to add before we go?
Nah.
I
was gonna shit on somebody, but I'm gonna bite my tongue. It was just sarcasm, but I'm still gonna bite my tongue.
Well, it's all in good fun. So maybe we can we'll add it in later. But all right, cool. Well, this has been They Came From the Underground. Go check out Bleujack's music on Bandcamp, and we'll see you in here next time.
Thanks a lot.
Next week on Tuesday, should be Ed Burrows, and then I believe yours will be out 2 or 3 weeks. Cool. You can come check it out. All right. Thank you again for being here, man.
Thanks for having
Well, my brother taught me to question, taught me to learn against the grain. Oh, to make sure what I'm doing is what I want to be doing day to day. Well, I work smart, I sing smarter, and I drink hard just like my father. And I work smart, I sing smarter, and I drink hard just like my father. But I taught myself how to bleed. I taught myself to love my life. I taught myself that I can sing. And I taught myself that I can fight. Smart, I sing smarter, and I drink hard just like my father. And I work smart, I sing smarter, and I drink hard just like my father. And I work smart,